This program may contain language or material that may be considered offensive. The views expressed are those of the engineer and their guests and may not reflect the views of the management or other WHRW station members. Therefore, we always advise you to consider carefully whether you or your children should listen.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Weekly Wellness Update. I am your host, Gabe Osterhout. Thank you for joining us this week. Lots to get to, but a couple of housekeeping items first. Today is the Great American Smokeout. If you're here on campus, we encourage you to stop by the Colleges Against Cancer and the health education tables and learn a little bit about trying to quit smoking. Remember, tobacco is banned here on campus in all campus buildings. If you need some help quitting, we have drop-in hours at Old O'Connor 357 every Wednesday from 3:30 to 4:30. We have a lot of nicotine replacement therapy and other options to help you quit. So if you're looking to quit smoking and, trying to fit into this new rule here on campus, stop up to Old O'Connor 357 Wednesdays from 3:30 to 4:30, and we can teach you how. Also, if you are interested in the REACH class, we had them on a couple of weeks ago. Applications for next semester are due by this coming Tuesday at midnight. That's Tuesday the 21st at midnight. Make sure if you're interested in being a REACH peer next semester, you get your applications in by the deadline. Now, to the fun stuff. We're a weekly wellness show. We talk a little bit about health and wellness, and we have an interesting guest with you today. Dave Husch, the Director of Transportation and Parking, is here. Dave, thank you for joining us. We're starting off talking about a new bike share program here on campus. If you could, tell us what this bike share program is.
Well, basically we have now 30 new bikes through Gotcha Bike, and students can use them at any point in time throughout the day. Their first 2 hours are free. After that, it's $5 an hour. They're located at 4 hubs throughout campus, C4, the East Gym, across from Einstein's, and near the Hinman Dining Hall.
So if somebody's interested in getting a bike, how do they go about doing so?
Basically, just have to go online, like everybody does for everything, and go to gotchabike.com/BinghamtonU, and from that point on, they can become a member and rent the bikes at any time they need.
Talk a little bit about why we got into a program like this, a free bike share program here on campus.
Well, I've got to say, going back to around 2012, a group of students started a bike share program, and it was a little unique. It had its issues. It was basically a sign out when a person was sitting at a desk in the University Union, and if that person wasn't sitting at the desk, you couldn't sign out a bike. So we've been going along with that process since 2012. And a year and a half ago or so, I was working with the students, and we started thinking there's got to be a better way to do this. And a lot of schools and a lot of communities have gone to this type of bike share program. And so we did the research, and Gotcha was the one that eventually got our interest the most, and that's who we ended up going with.
And if I'm not mistaken, there's an app for people who are interested. You can download the app and do everything right through that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You can do that, and so you can manually, when you get to the bike, once you have become a member and you have your ID number, you can punch that right in, or you can reserve it on your phone as well.
So you mentioned the first 2 hours are free, and then any hour after that is $5. What if somebody decides that they want to take it for a day? Is there a day fee, or is it just an hourly rate?
The most fee anybody can be charged per day is $24. If you keep it beyond 24 hours, there's an additional $30 fee on top of that.
Now, bike share, when we think of this, you kind of think about going around on campus. Is this something that you can take off campus as well, or are these bikes meant to only stay on campus?
They can go anywhere. You can ride it, just as long as it comes back to one of the 4 hubs here on campus.
So you don't have to return it to whichever hub you get it from. So if I get one from the East Gym, I can return it to any of the other ones. There's no additional fee.
Not at all. I went out, was checking out the one at Hinman today, and we decided there were too many there and too few at the one near Einstein. So one of my employees and I hopped on the bikes and rode them over to restock that location.
Now, what if you want to take a bike to class and then, put the bike away for an hour or so, the time of class, and then get a bike out? How would you go about doing something like that?
You can do that. There's a couple different options. You can have up to an hour of that 2-hour span where you can put it on hold. So your example, you ride it to class, you put it on hold, you have up to an hour. It still counts against your 2 hours, however. Where that's beneficial to do that is when you come out, that bike is still your bike. If you just locked it up and figured I'm just going to get another bike to ride back to my dorm when I'm done, the bikes could all be gone.
And you mentioned a little bit about if you don't return the bike in the 24-hour span. Can you talk a little bit about that fee and kind of how that's a deterrent to make sure you return the bike?
Oh, absolutely, because we'd really like to have 30 bikes available to everybody, more often than like a day. And so when a student signs up for the program, you have to put a credit card in. That's how they get you if you go beyond those limits. And that hopefully dissuades people from, parking it really close to where their residence hall is and not bring it back to be shared with everybody else.
Now, this has been here on campus for a little over a week or 3 weeks now.
Tomorrow.
What has the response been from the people who have used them so far?
Everybody seems to really like them. I know that the data that I had acquired from the student group back a year ago, so September of 2016, I know that, and again, everything was done by hand with the way it was before. We had about 508 members that had been acquired over that 5-year span. I looked today, I think we have something like 262 people have already signed up for it in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow. That's a great... Now, I know somebody asked me this on my way over here. We keep talking about students, but what about faculty and staff? Is this something that anybody can enjoy, or is this strictly for the students?
It's for anybody that's got a email address that says @binghamton.edu.
Great. So we encourage people, I know the weather's getting a little cold now, but you can still ride bikes in the cold, or, come this spring if you're looking to get out on your lunch break and get a little exercise. This might be a perfect way to do so. Oh,
and it's great that I can go online and I can find out what the stats are. And not only, how many miles, how many students have signed up for it, but as far as I can even give you the amount of carbon that's been reduced in the 3 weeks, or how many calories have burned. Unfortunately, I haven't been the one burning those calories, but almost 23,000 calories were burned since this started 3 weeks ago.
Now, I saw there it's a GPS type system.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about how the GPS fits in.
It's in the back of the bike, and this way, when you go online as a consumer, you can see how many bikes are at a given location. And as an administrator, we can find out if there's a bike missing, where it's located. So if a bike's really not going to disappear on us, we're going to be able to find it.
And I'm sure, especially on a college campus, it's important to know kind of where they are at all times in case, somebody needs one real quick or something like that. You can point them in the right direction.
Yep, absolutely.
We also talked about, there's different areas to put these, but do they come with their own lock? Do you need your own lock? How does that work?
It has a lock right inside of it, off to the side by the back rear tire. And when you put your code number in, that allows you to unlock it, and then you can slide it into a different location while you're riding it about. If you get to the end of your ride and you're going to lock it up and it doesn't lock correctly, it starts beeping, and it lets you know that it's not quite locked yet. So, because again, if it's not done right, you get charged. So it beeps at you to let you know that you've done it correctly.
And the other question I have about this service is, what are the hours? Or can anyone get a bike pretty much anytime they want?
That's absolutely right. At this point, it's 24/7, 365. Snow, rain, whatever. At this point, we only have one covered area where the hubs are, but we have 3 more hubs on order, or shelters, I should say, on order, that should be here within the next month or so. So hopefully before the snow flies.
And, we talked a little bit about, these bikes obviously being ridden a lot are going to have some wear and tear. If you get a bike, you notice something's wrong with it, what should you do?
You can actually go right on their website and send a message to Gotcha Bike. Now, the really neat thing about this program now, any other bike share company, Gotcha included, when they do that, obviously these are built in South Carolina, so they're coming up to New York. Someone's got to be the maintenance givers for this, and normally they'll get a local bike company to do that. In this case, we're having our bike share students are the folks who are doing the maintenance on it. So it keeps them involved in the whole process, and so letting the students know that from bike share if there's an issue, and they're the ones that will repair it.
How great is it that the students are kind of the ones taking ownership of this? Not only is it we trust you enough to take a bike, but we have students who are really working on these bikes as well.
And what in my time dealing with the different groups of students over the last few years, They're very engaged. They're very involved. This is their thing. They really like being part of the bike share program. I think there's 7 of them now that we have that I should say we've employed. Gotcha has employed to be doing the work on them. So they're very gung ho. They're very interested in this, and so far so good. Doing a great job.
Again, as a quick recap, all you got to do is download the app, set up an account, go on there, request a bike anytime you want it.
Yep.
And if you need more information, you can always go to gotchabike.com/Binghamton. Get some more information on there. Transportation and Parking on their website has some information on it.
Absolutely.
And, it's a pretty straightforward program, but it seems to be very popular so far. So we hope that continues on, especially, we have a push here at Binghamton with the Healthy Campus Initiative from the Health Promotion and Prevention Services Department to maintain a healthier lifestyle. This is what a great way to do it. Instead of, driving in your car across campus, hop on a bike and get some exercise.
One of the reasons why we chose the East Gym as one of the hubs, because we figured students would want to come out of the residence hall, would want to go down there and work out. What better way than to hop on a bike, spend a 10-minute bike ride, get down there, do your workout, and then ride back.
I don't know if you can answer this, but depending on the success of the program, is this something that we could see expanded to different hubs in the coming years?
I would love to see that. Of course, we're going to measure the success of it, and we can do that at any time. As an administrator, I can go on and look at the numbers. Ideally, I'd like to have something over at ITC, at the downtown center, and eventually at the pharmacy school. That's the goal, and even more hubs on the main campus as well.
And as the old saying goes, you never forget how to ride a bike. So if you've ridden one before, this is an opportunity to check one out.
And I proved that this afternoon when I rode one from one location to the other.
Dave Husch here, the Director of Transportation and Parking. You're listening to the Weekly Wellness Update. Now, Dave, there's another program that not a lot of students may know about, but it's another ride-sharing program where students can actually rent a car from campus. If you could, talk a little bit about the zipcar program.
Yeah, the zipcar, it's a little bit different than what most people think of rent a car. Normally, you think you go to an airport, you rent a car, you give them your credit card, and away you go, and that you have to be 25 years old to make this happen. With the zipcar for the university, students have to be 18 years of age, have a driver's license. That's kind of important. Mm-hmm. The one thing that's different on the downside is, though, you have to go online and you have to become a member. There's a $15 fee to become a member. And then it takes about a week and you get a card from Zipcar, and that's how you access the vehicles when you decide you want to rent one. So you can't say, okay, I want a Zipcar tomorrow if you're not already a member. So the most important thing is spend the $15, become a member, because when you want a car, it's usually like now and not, geez, I'm going to want one in a week from now. And then we have them in Lot D, which is behind no one knows what the lot or correspond with, but we'll say the one behind the parking structure. So that's Lot D. There's 3 vehicles there. And then there is another one up in Mountain View. In lot, I believe it's Y5, and it's like right across from where the green bus shuttle bus stop is.
And if I'm not mistaken, I was looking a little on the website. This is something the community can use as well?
Yes, it's a little bit different than the way we set up the bike share program. But yeah, it is available, so other folks from around the town can come and use those as well.
And you mentioned signing up. You would go to zipcar.com/universities/Binghamton-University. You can sign up there. Obviously, there's going to be a cost to this. If you could talk a little bit about that cost structure.
And again, it's going to be different than the way you think of a rent-a-car. You think you're going to rent a car for a day or you're going to rent a car for a week. These you can rent by the hour. And quite normally, they're $7.50 an hour. That includes gas. That includes insurance. Now, mind you, there's a hefty deductible when you're paying $7.50 an hour. Mm-hmm. The daily rate is $69 a day, and you also get up to 180 miles at no additional cost.
So why would a student use the system, or why did we put a system like this in place?
Well, first and foremost, you have a lot of all the freshmen can't have vehicles, so that is one of our busiest groups of folks who use it. There's a lot of international students who are coming in from different countries and aren't coming in with their own vehicle. So it just makes it very convenient to run to Walmart, run out to a restaurant, do something that you want to do without having to take one of the buses. or Uber or Lyft and things along those lines. But it's really convenient. The difference between the bike and the car share is while the bikes can go back to any of the 4 locations, the cars are at specific locations. So if you take one from the Y4, you got to return it there. If you take it from Lot D, you have to return it there.
How would someone go about getting the keys? So if I were to sign up and rent a car for next week, how do you go about getting into that vehicle?
Well, the zipcar card that I mentioned, when you get that in the mail, the keys are actually inside the vehicle. So you basically take the card and you tap it on the windshield at a specific location, and it knows that it's your card and you have already gone on and reserved it online. So at that point, it registers that you're the right person reserving the car, door unlocks, and then you get right in, it's a key, and you're ready to go. Hopefully the person prior to you has done their job and put gas in it. There are gas cards in the vehicle, and you're supposed to come back having filled it up. And again, they're paying for the gas, so all you have to do is actually do the work to put the gas in.
And you led me to my next question. So if somebody gets a car, what should they do before returning? Obviously, gas is an important thing.
Yep. Clean it out. I mean, don't leave a mess there, and that's very rarely an issue, but it does happen occasionally. But Zipcar does employ folks to come in and clean the interior and the exterior of the vehicles while they're sitting right in the parking lot too. So by and large, they are very clean and good-looking vehicles.
You mentioned 180 miles a day is covered in that the rate or the daily rate. What if somebody has to go to Albany or something for a class? If they go over that 180 miles, is there a penalty, or is it just not allowed, or how does that work?
There's a fee for it. I'm not 100% sure how it escalates, but there is a fee for that. It's not something we see very often. Most of them are used around town.
And another thing I know is a popular thing, and I do it in my own car. People, when we're out running around, tend to stop at a fast food place, a McDonald's, a Burger King, whatever it may be, get a bite to eat in the car as they're driving. Is that something that's against the rules of the Zip car?
I don't know if it's against the rules of the road or not, but I don't know that Zipcar makes any specific recommendations for or against that.
And you mentioned 4 different places to pick those up. Two different locations. It's Y4 and the other lot that you mentioned that it's over by the parking
garage.
structure.
Yep. Yes.
That I know where that is. I'm sad to admit that I don't know what each lot is yet, but I'm learning. I'm new here still.
21 years, and I still don't know where they all are. So.
And then just lastly on the Zip cars, what kind of cars are these? Obviously, people are used to driving, whether they're big SUVs or little Volkswagen. It's a variety.
They're smaller. They're Fords. Ford's a sponsor of Zipcar, so they're all Ford vehicles. Most of them are smaller, and they come and change them out faster than you know it, so they're always new vehicles. Sometimes they're SUVs, but most of them are just sedans.
So we talked about 2 important things to help you get around town here when you're on campus. Next week, obviously, a lot of students, most of the students here, they're going home for Thanksgiving break. We also have a program here that helps get students down to the New York City, Westchester, Long Island area.
Yes.
If you could talk a little bit about what this is.
It's Escape is the name of and it's a student-run organization through the Student Association. And they basically yearly contract a coach bus system. Lately, it's been North Fork out of Long Island, and provide long-term bus service. At this point, it's mainly during breaks. Over the years, they've tried to do it on weekends, every weekend, but they just didn't have the capacity to do that. So they've gone back to just doing it during break time. So I think this week coming up, I think there's 7 buses that are leaving on Tuesday night, and then 2 more that leave on Wednesday morning, and then 9 of them all come back next Sunday morning when everybody is full of turkey.
And it's an important distinction to make. This isn't a one-way thing. This is actually a round-trip service for the students.
Correct. And the location where they get dropped off at is the location they're going to be picked up at.
Here on campus, or is it all over the place? Is there one specific location that the buses pick you up?
There's going to be another lot designation I'm going to give you here. Lot E, for anybody who knows where Lot E is, it's the one leading its way into the East Gym is Lot E.
And so what a great way. And I know, when I was in college, it was difficult for my parents to get out of work to come pick me up. And so having this system, especially for freshmen who can't have cars on campus, might be a great way to help you to get home.
Oh, absolutely. We get a lot of questions about that when I'm doing orientations in the summer. Those are some of the biggest questions I get from mom and dad is how is my student going to get home during break time?
Where would people buy tickets for this? If they hear this and they're like, hey, I need to get home next week. This sounds like a great program. Where can they go to buy tickets?
Just like everything else, they can purchase them online at bingtickets.com. And they can just put their credit card in and purchase tickets that way. You can also go to the Escape office, which is in the University Union West, a couple above where we are right now, in room 320.
And office hours for there, it's Monday through Thursday, 12 to 4, Fridays, 11 to 3.
Yep.
If you need to give them a call, it's 777-6178. You can also email information to escapeinfo@binghamtonsa.org. How big of a program is this, and how great is it for a university like ours to be able to provide this service to students?
And to me, it's the best part about it is the students are doing it. It's a student-run company, and they do all the work. They take all the grief when something goes wrong, which is usually 99% not their fault. A bus gets a flat tire. A bus gets a flat tire. But they year after year, I meet a new person who's the executive director, and I try to assist them as best they can. They give me as much information ahead of time as they can. We work with parking services and with University Police to make sure that the locations where the pickup is, like I said, this time Lot E is a safe and it's ready for when these are going to take place.
But to have student-run organizations, not an adult saying,
Correct.
Here's this, but to have peers and then to have people take these buses and talk about what a wonderful experience it is. When I was in college, we didn't have anything necessarily like this. You had to catch the bus at the bus station. So to be able to go right on campus, how much of a benefit for students is that to know that, hey, I get out of class at 4 and that bus is leaving at 5, I have time to do that?
Yes, and it's very convenient to get them down there to the location as well. Everybody will see this starting on Tuesday. Not that anybody's leaving on Friday, I might say, but you start seeing students wandering through campus, dragging their luggage along with them, and a lot of them will be headed either to the main bus stop to catch a bus downtown or to the East Gym to catch the Escape buses.
Now, you mentioned taking a bus downtown, so people can still get from campus to downtown if they're taking, say, a Greyhound or something like that home? Yeah,
the bus station in Binghamton, it's a little bit longer on a bus because there's making a lot of stops, BC Transit or OCCT, but an Uber or a Lyft or a taxi cab can get them there in probably 10 minutes or less. And there's Trailways, Megabus, Greyhound, and Coach USA that can go to areas that Escape also serves, but to areas that aren't served by Escape.
And if you need more information on this program itself, obviously we gave you the phone number, we gave you the email address. You can also go to binghamtonsa.org/index/escape-buses. Also, Bing Escape has a Facebook page that you can go on. You can always follow them. I know I went on the page earlier. It kind of tells you what buses are available, what buses are sold out, and there are some buses sold out already.
Definitely.
If you're hearing this, we suggest that you not wait in getting your ticket for next week. If you hear this today and you say, hey, that's a great system and I want to get home, I'm going to use that, we would suggest sooner rather than later.
During that, as soon as possible. If for whatever reason the location you want to go to is sold out, the Binghamton bus station, as I just mentioned, isn't the other option. And getting down there, I mentioned the different vehicles, taxis and Uber and Lyft. The two bus companies, every BC Transit bus stops and ends at the bus station. Would suggest just shorter period of time to get there. The number 15 leaves from the Union. The number 5 leaves from the Mohawk stop. Or OCCT, the Leroy South Side also goes to that location.
So there are plenty of options to get you down there. As a transportation and parking, how important is it to you to provide, and we talked about 3 different great services for students, staff, and even in some regards for the community. How important is it at a premier university like this to be able to provide these services to students?
I think it's great. It's great for the students. It's great for mom and dad, trying to get people back and forth. My son went to school in North Carolina. That I know how difficult it is to get kid back and forth from campus. So getting folks to any of the locations to get the bus, we try to do our best to help students get there. There's also a system that's not affiliated with the university that stops and picks people up over at the Quality Inn across the street. And I don't know that most students know that, but you can hop on the number 15 BC Transit bus, and like the first stop after it leaves campus is across the street at the Quality Inn. So when you see students wandering across the parkway dragging their luggage, they could probably have hopped on that 15 and gotten to that without having to play Frogger going across the parkway.
So we encourage anybody who's listening and, maybe not have heard of these services. And as you mentioned, there are plenty of people who know about the bike share and the zip cars and even this Escape. I know I've been here for almost a year now, and I've seen this, and I see people getting on it all the time. But for people who didn't know about these services, it's important to go and check it out and see all the resources that are available for you here on campus. And if you could, we have just a couple minutes left, back to the bike share program. If you could, again, just so we can rehash, if people missed the beginning, where can people get the bike share bikes from? Okay,
there are 4 hubs around campus. They're at the East Gym. They are at the lecture hall across from Einstein's. They are in front of C4 and outside the Hinman Dining Hall.
And 2 hours free, $5 for every additional hour.
Yep.
All you have to do is get the app, go on there, sign up. Bike is there waiting for you. The lock is there. You just have to return it to one of the 4 hubs,
exactly.
not necessarily those 4. And again, you can learn more at gotchabike.com/Binghamton. And then we have
Binghamton U.
Oh, Binghamton
Binghamton U.
I got to make sure that we give the right
Yes,
web address. Don't want to give wrong information. Then we also have the zipcar program. There are a few of those here on campus.
5 of them at the moment.
2 different lots.
Yep.
They are
up in Mountain View and I said 4 before. I think I lied. I think it's Y5, and definitely in Lot D behind the parking structure.
And all you have to do, www.zipcar.com/universities/Binghamton-University. Sign up for an account, $15 for an account. But then the hourly rate, $7.50, a daily rate, $69. That covers your gas, your insurance, and up to 180 miles of driving per day. All we ask is that when you come back, you clean out the car and you fill it back up.
Yep.
There's a gas card right in there, so it doesn't even cost you anything for those gas cards. So there's that program. And, of course, we just finished up with the Escape program, which is a student-run bus organization taking students home for breaks. New York City, Long Island, Westchester. There are stops down there. And the great thing about this, it's a round trip.
Yes. Yeah, you can get back as well.
So we encourage everybody to take advantage of these 3 different programs. Of course, if you want to know more about the Escape program, you can either call the phone number, which is 777-6178, or you can email escapeinfo@binghamtonsa.org. You can also go on the website, binghamtonsa.org/index/escape-buses. That's a mouthful. Make it easier. Go to Bing Escape on Facebook. Get all the information there. You can as well. Dave, thank you so much for joining us this week. We greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for asking me. Had fun.
Absolutely. Anytime we can let the students know some of the great resources here available on campus, we're proud to do so. Don't forget, coming up next week is Thanksgiving. We will not be on the air, but some Thanksgiving tips. I know the Reach Peers are out this week. One of the biggest drinking nights of the year is the night before Thanksgiving. We encourage everybody to enjoy themselves, but to do so responsibly. You'll notice going up in a lot of the residence hall today, there's some posters outlining some of the signs and symptoms to watch for alcohol poisoning, especially if you're home. HPPS, we care about your safety here on campus and in the Binghamton community, but also when you go home. So we hope you take some of the messages you learned here from this show, take them home with you, spread them to your friends, get that knowledge out there. Of course, today is also the Great American Smokeout. If you have any interest in quitting tobacco and you're having a hard time doing so, we encourage you to attend our drop-in hours in Old O'Connor 357 from 3:30 to 4:30 every Wednesday. We can talk you through some tips and techniques, give you some nicotine replacement therapy, and of course, if you're looking to become a REACH peer next semester, the deadline for applications has been extended. Applications are now due Tuesday, the 21st by midnight. You can go on Be Engaged, find the application on there. You can also go to our Facebook page, Binghamton HPPS, find the application there. Lots of good stuff coming up, and of course, we still have a few weeks left of the semester. We'll have some more great shows for you coming up, but we encourage you to enjoy your Thanksgiving break safely, and we'll see you back here in a couple weeks.